The story begins with our hero inside a solemn temple which he has never come across before. What's interesting to him is that it is filled with the fragrance of flowers, which is not what he had expected. However, the real sight is in front of his eyes as we see a cute and curvy babe bowing down to him and asking him to teach her the ways of life. Actually, she even goes on to give us specifics by saying she wishes to learn the art of intrusive thoughts and naughty activities. Before we understand how to sign up for this kind of religion, we are taken to a flashback where our hero has just woken up. He realizes that he is now in a different world, which confuses him. As far as he remembers, he was busy with the latest R18 release like any other man of culture. After that, he should have gone to bed, so he wonders if he is actually stuck inside some dream. However, he finds the realism of this dream to be quite amazing as he checks out some of the flowers. Eventually, he wonders if he has indeed been summoned to another world. He argues with himself about such things not existing, but then he hears the voice of a babe. She welcomes our hero, whose name is finally revealed to be Kasaka Itsuki, to the sage country of Hinomoto. Kasaka hears her voice from above, so he looks up to find a massive, curvy babe who is in her birthday suit. Our hero comments on how big she is in general, which also means that her pillows would be a national treasure. After he snaps out of his intrusive thoughts, Kasaka asks if he has indeed been brought to another world. The giant babe introduces herself as the goddess of the four flowers and also says that she is the mother of the people of Manhua, which is the capital of flowers. It turns out that Manhua is a sacred city where men are not allowed, which means that our hero is the only male who has been allowed into this territory. It's actually awesome, and every other boy out there would be begging for it to be him instead of Kasaka. However, our hero is still a bit confused, so he asks the goddess why she has chosen him in particular. After all, he is just a standard boy with shady thoughts. But then the goddess reveals that she has summoned him here for a very unique type of mission. Upon hearing this, Kasaka immediately says no, because he has seen enough anime and read enough manga comics to know that missions usually require the hero to put his life on the line. He can already imagine the goddess telling him to defeat the Demon King. But that is no task for an ordinary person like Kasaka. The goddess reassures him that this mission is nothing of the sort, and there is no danger involved at all. As a matter of fact, all he needs to do is educate her children. Hearing this puts Kasaka more at ease, and then the giant babe tells him that if he completes his mission successfully, then he will be sent back to his original world, and that too with a reward. Kasaka is now very interested in this reward, especially after the goddess tells him that he can have whatever he wishes for. Our hero immediately bows down in gratitude and asks for an encounter of the shady kind with a cute and curvy girl. The goddess comments on how bold our hero, but she clearly has no idea about the men of culture living in his original world. She states that once Kasaka has completed his mission, his wish will be granted. But then he asks the goddess to be flexible with his request, as he does not want a babe to just randomly sprout in front of him. Kasaka then thinks to himself about how lucky he is to have encountered a goddess who would grant him such a shady wish. He can finally live his life just like the manga and anime he used to consume. Kasaka is already painting a story in his head about a love comedy with a library princess or an unattainable beauty, but he needs to leave the dreaming alone for now and focus on the task at hand. The goddess says that they can talk about the details of his wish after all four of her people are there together. Kasaka does not understand what she means by this, but before he knows it, the doors creak open and cute girl enters through it. Her name is Rose, and she greets the goddess as her lord, asking what she requires from her today. The goddess also greets her, but Rose wonders where Lily and the others are. It seems that she is the first one here, but then she notices Kasaka and gets shocked because she is in the presence of a man. She wastes no time in calling our hero a jerk, and is in disbelief because men are not allowed in this territory. Rose asks Kasaka how he was able to sneak in here, but he maintains that he has done no such thing. Suddenly, Rose hears someone calling out to her from behind, and it happens to be another one of the goddess's followers. She is carrying a girl named Talia, whom she claims has overslept, which is why she had to be brought here this way today. Of course, Talia might be a bit heavy to carry for the girl, whose name is revealed to be Lapina. She asks Rose for a helping hand, but then Rose asks her to come towards her immediately. Lapina does not understand the haste behind Rose's behavior, so she asks her why she is being so loud. That's when Lapina notices Kasaka in front of her, and she panics as well. As a matter of fact, she actually uses Talia as a shield to protect herself from our hero, although that does raise questions about her own ethics. Kasaka can't believe that Lapina is hiding from him as if she is some kind of cornered animal, but then he also points out that she is using a human shield, so she might not be as innocent as it seems. That's pretty much the case with every girl nowadays, and then we see Talia waking up in total amazement. She is actually curious to see a man in this place, but her sudden waking up spooks out Kasaka. Lapina can't believe that Talia was awake this entire time, although she does get thanked for carrying the babe on her shoulders. Now, Talia checks out Kasaka and starts to act shady around him. She comments that the body of men are indeed different from the bodies of women, but she is a bit too close to our hero for his liking, so he lets her know that he is trying to suppress his inner beast. Talia is a bit confused, and in all the wrong ways because she wonders if she is supposed to wear her clothes properly in front of a man. After all, she is in her nightwear, which she does find a lot more comfortable than the nun clothes she is given by her folks. Rose scolds Talia and tells her to be more modest in front of people, especially now that there is a man in front of them. Kasaka can see 3 girls right now, and as per what the goddess told him, there is one more person remaining. At that very moment, Sister Lily arrives, and she is the same girl we saw earlier who was praying to Kasaka, asking him to teach her the ways of intrusive thoughts and shady activities. Lily greets the goddess with a cute face, and she immediately catches our hero's eyes. Lily also notices him, and she is blushing almost subconsciously while looking at him. Unlike the other girls, she is extremely polite and wishes Kasaka a good afternoon, which takes him totally by surprise. She then asks our hero what worries concern him today, because she feels that he is some kind of lost sheep. Rose can't understand why Lily is being so carefree in front of a man, but now that all the 4 girls are here, the goddess is asked why Kasaka is here in a land that bans men. The goddess tells her girls that Kasaka is a sage from a different world, and he has been brought here for a very specific mission. It's at this moment that Lily realizes that our hero is a man, and she asks Rose for confirmation, indicating that she had indeed thought of Kasaka as a sheep earlier. The nun girls want to know what kind of mission Kasaka has been called for, so the goddess states that it is to do with her succession. The girls are shocked to hear this, as is Kasaka, who wants to know exactly what the goddess is talking about. Lily explains that when the goddess completes her term of 1,000 years, she chooses a female saint who will succeed her and become the next goddess while she herself turns back into a human. The goddess reveals that these 4 girls are her candidates for succession, and she has chosen them because they are filled with talent and renounced desires. As holy sisters, they have been diligently trained to be pure, which may be wonderful, but that alone is not enough in the eyes of the goddess. The nun girls want to know what else is needed, and Kasaka is just standing there listening to them. The goddess says that there are several qualifications that are needed to reach her current level, with one of them being the purity of a saint girl who is devoted to her people. However, there is a guideline that contradicts that very statement, which is that the goddess must also be a mature woman, since she is going to be the mother who bears and increases the population of the City of Flowers. Only a nun girl with these qualities can become the next goddess. This means that the Holy Sisters will need to learn the unholy taboos that they have stayed away from their whole lives. These are the teachings that they will require to learn right now, which is why Kusaka has been summoned here as well. In other words, our hero is supposed to provide shady guidance to all the Holy Sisters, thus turning them unholy. This is a massive shocker, not just to the girls, but also to Kusaka, who had no idea he would be required to impart such knowledge. The goddess repeats that it is necessary for her nun girls to learn shady things and become masters of intrusive thoughts. This is Kusaka's mission, but he is at a loss because he himself is a loser back in the real world where real women exist. He has no experience at all when it comes to practical matters, so even if there is an amazing reward waiting for him at the end of this, he wonders what an untouched boy like him will be able to do to 4 holy nuns. Lily asks the goddess why such a thing is needed, because after all, the Holy Sisters have been taught to avoid such things their whole lives. Purity and innocence has always been their focus, which the goddess agrees to, but maintains that things are different when it comes to the succession of a goddess. A more mature girl would be required for the role because of multiple reasons. Lily wants to know what these reasons are, so the goddess has no other choice but to explain the required attributes to be in her position. This involves being immoral, lewd, and the capacity to be shady for a longer period of time, and more often. Only such a person has the capacity to support the prosperity of the people in this world. Kusaka has understood the game plan now, because only a lewd goddess will have the ability to give birth to many babies. The Holy Sisters stand in amazement over this revelation, and Lily seems to have gotten her answer. Our hero is prompted to ask a very important question, which is that if these are the qualifications for a goddess, then it implies that the current one is also lewd. Rose scolds him for being rude to the goddess even though he might be a sage, which he most definitely is not. The goddess avoids the question, which all but confirms that she too is a lewd woman who would get along well with the men of culture on earth. The goddess eventually admits that in order for prosperity to prevail, it does not matter if the rules have to be broken. Lily feels enlightened by this chat, and Kusaka realizes that the atmosphere is quite serious over here, but at the same time it's shady activities that are being discussed over here, so he does not know how he should proceed over here. Now, Rose tells the goddess that she understands the importance of prosperity, but at the same time, she has some reservations about the method to be used. After all, to get freaky with a man you have just met today is a bit of an exaggeration. Kusaka points out that saying such things is usually his job, because he seems to believe in attaching and love and romance before extending them to lewd acts. Of course, this rich coming from a boy who likes to engage in visual media that is the exact opposite of what he has just said. Even Rose looks at him suspiciously because she can smell his BS from a mile away. Out of the blue, Talia decides to volunteer for this act, which makes our hero even more nervous. She feels that it is an unknown experience, so she is sure to find it delightful. She then turns to Lupina and asks her if she would like to watch, but she shakes her head aggressively to suggest she isn't the type who likes such things. However, the goddess looks at Lily and tells her that she will be the one to receive the guidance first, as she is the most devoted sister out of all. Talia does not like this, as she would have liked to be Kusaka's first experiment. But since this is the will of the goddess, she will not challenge the decision. Rose pleads with the goddess to spare Lily because she is a bit too innocent for such shady acts. After all, it was only until recently that she thought of men as creatures of fantasy. Keeping that in mind, such an act may be a bit too much for her to handle. However, Lily herself tells Rose that it is fine because she has been studying about men ever since she learned about their existence. However, the Holy Sister believes that men are just like wolves, which is most definitely not the case. As a matter of fact, some women of Earth believe that men are more dangerous than bears, but that is probably because they have been spending way too much time out of the kitchen. Lily then reveals that Lapina had helped her understand men a lot, even lending her some books to guide her on the matter. This causes Lapina to blush and Talia to look at her with shady eyes. Now, Lily declares that if this is to be done for the common good, then she will be more than happy to present herself to our hero. It is at this moment when we are brought back to the first scene where Lily was asking Kasaka to teach her naughty things. This is a dream come true for most men who are straight in the head, but our hero is feeling very uncomfortable, probably due to all the immense pressure that has been placed on him. He then reminds us all that he too is inexperienced when it comes to practical matters. All he has is the knowledge he has compiled from visiting certain channels that can only be accessed on incognito mode. Lily may have accepted her fate, but she is seen trembling, which means that she too is going to have a hard time experiencing this. Seeing the innocent nun in this situation makes our hero think about how a holy sister is willingly allowing herself to become unholy at his hands. With such a privilege, it is only fair for him to have decent manners and honor her request. Eventually, Kasaka speaks out loud that, even if he does not know anything, he will do his best to help out Lily. After all, fooling around with a beautiful woman is all he could have asked for. On that note, the goddess tells Kasaka that they should begin with the first theme, which happens to be that of climax. Normally, this is something that only advanced level players can achieve, but our hero has been given this task rather abruptly. Basically, he will need to guide Lily's kitty cat to release her water in front of everyone right here. Right now, there's a seat prepared for the Holy Sister as well, so she prepares herself and gets seated. Rose tries to cheer her up by saying they will all be watching, but that isn't exactly supposed to be motivation. Of course, Kasaka did not expect for things to get underway over here itself, but then he is able to calm himself down. He reminds himself that he will just need to remember whatever he has learned till now, and use that knowledge to full effect. Kasaka sets his sights on making sure that Lily gets the experience of a lifetime, and then he also considers the reward that will be awaiting him at the end of this exercise. Of course, thinking about this in itself is rather lewd, so our hero figure that he might as well get down to business. To attack the pillows first up would be an obvious choice, but to develop that area would take too much time, so he figures attacking the kitty would be his best bet. Kasaka goes ahead and places his hand where no man has done before, so Lily tells him this is a bit too unholy. However, he goes ahead without a care in the world by activating the trump within him. Lily lets out a moan of discomfort, so Kasaka asks her if he has hurt her. She says it's all good and tells him to continue whatever it was that he was doing. This makes him wonder what he was doing till now, which means that Kasaka is basically winging it. He then questions if this is the right thing for him to do. There could be an alternate method of action too, but then the goddess comments that she has witnessed a miracle. Kasaka is confused, but the goddess states that she is feeling nostalgic because she had seen the exact same thing when she had to become a goddess. In the past, all the sage who had come over here would use the god's miracles to provide guidance to the holy sisters. Now that she has seen the same thing in Kasaka, she will bestow the same blessing upon him as well. With that, the goddess offers her foot to Kasaka, But he is not Tarantino, so he simply accepts the miracle of God which she has offered to him. This miracle will unlock the door to all of Kasaka's memories, which means that he himself did not have access to all the information he had gathered as a man of culture. The miracle instantly transports him to the library of godly techniques, and then the door opens up to allow our hero inside. Over here, Kasaka notices all types of books covering various aspects of intrusive thoughts and unspeakable acts. He can understand instinctively that this is the collective knowledge he has gathered from all the years of his consuming questionable content. The space is so big that it can fit in a population of its own, but we should not expect anything less from our hero. Despite the vast amount of knowledge, Kasaka is still confused as to where he should begin because it's very cluttered at the moment. There are cute girls moving around everywhere as well, so they serve as an obvious distraction. Suddenly, a bunny girl shows up with a disc for Kasaka, which could also imply he has a thing for this kind of costume. Upon touching this disc, our hero is blessed with a ton of knowledge regarding godly techniques. The blessing is so powerful that Kasaka might just become a god himself. But then he is brought back to reality by Lily, who asks him if he is all right. He casually shrugs it off as nothing important, but we all know that he is now a different man. This is because he has realized that the miracle can draw out his shady memories, which actually makes the name a bit suspicious. Before the techniques, there was something else that Kasaka remembered, and then he turns his attention to Lily. He decides that he will guide her through her first time so that she can be made to feel easy about it. He apologizes to her for taking so much time, and then he says that he will only focus on her for now. He asks for another chance, and she readily agrees to give it to him. So, the first step would be to have some kind of physical contact. So Kasaka decides to slowly place his hand on Lily's cheek. He begins to gently stroke her cheek so that she can get used to the sensations. As he had expected, Lily is extremely cute and has really soft skin as well. However, her must not lose sight of his mission, so he shakes his head and focuses on the task at hand. Next up are the beloved pillows, which Kasaka wastes no time in attending to. He tells Lily that he has never done such a thing before, so he will try to perform his best. This makes the holy sister giggle and blush, because it's the first time for the both of them. Kasaka also nods along, but he realizes that Lily is starting to flip over to the dark side. Rose can't believe what she is seeing because Lily's expression has softened, indicating that she is finding this experience pleasurable. After the pillows, it's time for the kitty cat. So Kasaka places himself behind Lily and reassures her that it won't be painful this time. As our hero showcases his godly technique, the voices he brings out begin to attract Lupina and Talia as well. Rose worries for Lily a little, but it doesn't look like she's in trouble. Kasaka unleashes his secret finger blast technique, and it causes Lily's body to react rather strongly. Rose asks her if she is okay, but the holy sister has finally turned into an unholy babe. Lily calls out to God and says sorry to him because of what she is experiencing, and then she ultimately gives in to our hero's technique. An intense release follows, and Lily is shocked to see the amount of kitty water she has unleashed upon achieving the finish. After she is done, Lily prays to God and asks for forgiveness because she has turned herself over to matters of the flesh. Rose can't believe what she is seeing, because Lily has always been an innocent girl to her. Our hero, on the other hand, takes a look at his fingers to appreciate the art he has just created. The goddess is even more pleased by what she has just witnessed, so she tells Kasaka that he should continue with his methods and teach everything he knows to all the holy sisters. After all, the eventual mission is to cultivate lewd maidens, which leads Kasaka to declare that he now has a new purpose in life. It's pure, beautiful but also depraved, which is a rather odd combination. What he has done to Lily is only the beginning of his life together with these sisters, so he is in for a very wild ride ahead. As the goddess and the other sisters still react to what they have just witnessed from Lily, Kusaka pats himself on the back because he has finally been able to do something with a cute and curvy girl. And what's better is that she is from another world. On top of that, he also managed to make her reach the ultimate finish, which is something that most men still struggle with in today's world. The goddess tells our hero that he is an impressive sage, and he possesses a unique talent for indulgence, which is just what she had expected. Kusaka is not too sure of the term, but the goddess says that he can think of it as the ability to captivate someone. Suddenly, something lights up in her palm, and she asks our hero to take it. As he receives this power, it transforms into some kind of ring which confuses him. The ring seems to be called the Book of Steinman, and it automatically fits into Kusaka's finger, much like Lily's kitty cat. The goddess tells him that the ring will activate on its own whenever the correct opportunity arises, and it will help him bestow further guidance upon the holy sisters, one of whom has already become unholy. Kusaka wants to know how many other teachings he will need to bestow, but the goddess tells him that she is honestly quite unclear of this herself. Basically, when the maidens reach maturity, the book's guidance should be technically complete, but this varies greatly based on each individual's differences and timing. The goddess then reveals that in her case, it took a grand total of 5 whole years for her to reach maturity. This comes as an absolute shocker for Kusaka, because 5 years of shady teaching is a bit too much for anyone. Now, the goddess turns to her holy sisters and tells them that many more teachings will come in the future, and there will be quite a few sleepless nights ahead of them. However, they must remember that they are sisters of the flower capital, so they must continue to live pure and beautiful lives. The goddess hopes that all of these girls blossom together as one beautiful flower once they are done with all their shady teachings. On that note, everyone leaves the presence of the goddess, with Kusaka still thinking about the assumed time duration of 5 years. His main concern is that he might be declared missing in Japan, and he also has a sister he has to take care of back there. As per what the goddess said, there could be a way to shorten the time, but for that to happen, he will need to be a lot more active when it comes to guiding the sisters. The problem is that no matter how shady a man might get, there is a limit to the amount of intrusive thoughts he can get, and his primary opponent in this case will be his post-walnut clarity if he ever decides to unleash his own elephant in front of these nuns. It will be quite a task for him to be able to get the job done, and it does not matter how curvy these girls might be. Kusaka then calms himself down by saying there must be a lot of other men right now who must be commenting that it should have been them in his place, so he must honor their wishes and do them proud by fulfilling this mission. After all, a tough task to one man is an endless reward to another. He gets lost in his train of thought, and then he is suddenly brought back to reality when Talia apologizes for making him walk a lot. Kusaka says it's fine because he is in their care after all in this world. She then reveals that they have arrived at the Sisters' Academy where a lot of other holy nun girls are staying. Since men are not allowed over here, the girls will need to make sure that Kusaka is hidden from everyone else's view. Our hero says sorry for causing the girls so much trouble, but Rose says it's all right. She then asks Kusaka if he is also a man of God, because apologizing without reason is an odd thing in her mind. Kusaka wonders if Rose is the one who is doing all the covering up for him to keep him hidden in this massive castle. And then the girls arrive at the sage's room. It's a massive space, and none of the holy sisters knew such a place existed till now. The interiors have been arranged specifically for the sage, because he has the most important task of them all. Kusaka thinks that his bed is a bit too big, but that is only because he has never seen such a bed before in his life. He hears some knocking on the door, but it only happens to be Lily, who was spending time getting ready after her extremely intense release. Rose tells her it's fine because even they have only just arrived now. But Talia teases her by saying it would definitely take a lot of time to clean up after putting on a show like Lily just did. Kasaka tells her not to make Lily feel awkward, but Talia says that there is nothing to feel embarrassed about. After all, each and every one of the Holy Sisters will have to experience this sensation, so it's not like they can avoid it. Talia then looks at Rose and asks her if she is excited for her turn. But Rose says that the only one looking forward to such an experience is Talia. Lily asks what will happen from now on because nobody knows the exact guidance of the ring. Lapina also wonders if there are any rules attached to this, and then Kasaka's ring clicks instantly. A voice tells everyone that the Holy Book will provide tasks at the appropriate timings, and the Holy Maidens should give their best while studying with the sage. Kasaka is then told that his tasks will only get completed once he satisfies the Holy Sisters. Talia is impressed by this deep voice and wonders if the guidance actually has a physical body. Rose, on the other hand, is a bit concerned because when the voice said the word satisfy, all she could think of was what happened to Lily. This can only mean one thing, which is that Kasaka will have to endlessly satisfy all the Holy Sisters and make them truly unholy. This is actually the easy part because Kasaka then remembers that the goddess had asked him to maintain purity during these acts as well. This means that he himself cannot unleash his elephant upon these girls, which makes his job a whole lot tougher than anyone would have imagined. Our hero tries to convince us that he would only prefer to do shady things with a cute girl who loves him, but we all know that's a lie. He even admits that he is not sure how much he will be able to resist and maintain his sanity after doing so many tasks. He managed to keep his cool with Lily, but if this were to happen regularly and with 3 other girls, then he will truly need to be a god to keep his elephant calm. Suddenly, Rose says that she can't accept this, which makes all the other girls question her. She states that just because Kasaka is a sage, it does not mean that the Holy Sisters are safe around him. The girls argue that he did treat Lily gently while giving her the time of her life, and then Talia asks Rose if she is going to defy the wishes of the goddess. Rose argues that is not the case at all. It's just that she has only seen men as vicious beasts, like wolves up until today. She has been working very hard to live beautifully and purely as a sister, but for her to suddenly become shady and unholy is a very difficult ask. After all, she has been programmed to hate men, so she can't easily accept getting violated by Kasaka. Rose is going through a lot, so she walks away, stating that she needs to be alone and cool her head. Our hero actually agrees with Rose because he can understand it from her perspective. Lily worries about Rose, and Talia adds that Rose's seriousness is one of her good points, so it's only natural for her to be so confused. Talia then says that the other sisters should also take some time to organize their own thoughts, and they should continue this conversation the next day. Lily says that she will take care of Kasaka for today, so Talia sarcastically appreciates her efforts. Lapina and Talia then bid farewell to Kasaka, after which Lily asks him if he would like to settle down now. She starts off by saying he will need dinner, a change of clothes, and a bath, but our hero asks her if she is really okay with all of this. She does not understand what he is talking about, so he reminds her of what Rose just said. It's not just about Rose, but for Lily to also be engaging in unspeakable acts with a strange man she has only just met has to be weird, especially because she is supposed to be a holy sister. However, she simply replies with a blushing smile, which is cute enough for Kasaka to be convinced. Now, Lily explains that she is confused as well, because the way she has lived until now and the future are completely different things. However, She does not doubt our hero at all because of what she experienced with him. Even though it was awkward and highly shady, she could sense that Kusaka was being earnest in his task and thinking only about her during the entire process. This made her realize that our hero is indeed a kind person, although she might change her mind after checking out his browser history. Anyway, Lily turns around and tells Kusaka that he is all right to her, and the smile she gives off is enough for any man's heart to skip a beat. Our hero is taken away by what Lily has just said, but he admits that he should not expect anything less from a holy sister. He then thanks Lily for her positive support, because it is making him feel more confident in himself. At this very moment, the ring activates again, and it tells Lily that she needs to get ready for the second task. Lily wonders what this guidance has to do with her, and then the ring mentions a rather unspeakable act which is to be performed on her kitty cat. Kusaka panics upon hearing what his tongue will be needed for, but Lily does not know what the word means. She asks our hero if he can read what the ring is showing, and he says yes, but he is unsure if he should do it to Lily. The holy sister asks what it is supposed to be, so Kusaka prepares for another awkward chat. He has to do it anyway, so he explains how this is a method to prepare the female body for the elephant's trunk while also being good enough to gush out a waterfall. Lily understands this, so she asks for further details, and this is when Kusaka reveals that it will involve his secret tongue twister 9000 technique. Upon hearing the involvement of the tongue, Lily freaks out because this would normally be considered unhygienic in her world. After all, her kitty is mainly used to going to the toilet, so such an act would be considered disgusting by any sense of the imagination. It actually goes on to show how sick and twisted the people of Earth really are. Of course, there is no time for Kusaka to explain that the hygiene is worth the risk, so he simply says that it will be fine for him to try this on Lily because she has just come out of a bath. He manages to reassure the holy sister into committing yet another unholy act, so he thinks to himself that he is really corrupting this nun girl. He apologizes to her for making her go through yet another experience, but he maintains that she will need to be prepared for another euphoric feeling. Of course, he too would love to taste some sweet nectar, but he must remember that he cannot betray Lily's trust. Since our hero does not want this to become an unpleasant memory for Lily, he decides to visit the Library of Godly Techniques once again for assistance. In the library, he comes across a video tutorial he had once watched back in Japan over the hopes of getting to use that technique someday. It did not come in handy in his own world, but it will finally be of use in this one. It also makes Kusaka wonder if this library is indeed filled with all his most embarrassing memories and actions. Anyway, it's time to get down to business, and that's exactly what our hero does to the unholy sister. Lily is a bit taken aback by his firm approach, but he remembers that he must treat her gently, just like he had done last time. After all, getting her in the mood is the most crucial thing, so Kusaka starts with some light teasing. It becomes a bit too much for Lily, especially after our hero slides it to the side to resume his feast. He comments that he is experiencing the real deal as Lily is a lot tighter than he had imagined. The kitty cat is so soft and squishy that Kusaka almost loses himself in a train of intrusive thoughts. However, he manages to snap back to his senses, and he resumes with his task. At first, Kusaka gets a bit carried away and carries out a spread, but this makes Lily a bit conscious, so he needs to calm himself down. Our hero knows that the tip of the tongue may be a bit much, so he unleashes his godly technique, which has inspired many other moves, such as the Hawk 2A Ultra 9000. As the session grows more intense, Lily comes to the realization that she is experiencing heaven right now. It's as if something soft is crawling into her and also performing a suction technique at the same time. She does realize that she is being violated by our hero, whom she has only just met today, and this is really embarrassing because he has already given her heaven once before. However, since this feels even better, she does not mind being treated to it. Kusaka notices that the general level of wetness is increasing rather drastically, which reminds him that sensitive areas are rather delicate for both men as well as women. Our hero wants to take it up a notch for the ultimate finish, so he decides to keep his tongue in its place while also unleashing his finger blaster at the same time. After all, when it comes to sweet and innocent girls, such techniques will breach their limits. What follows is Lily's ultimate experience, resulting in a massive waterfall erupting from her kitty cat. She trembles for a bit before realizing that what she has just experienced is the wildest thing ever. The ring stops glowing, so Kusaka can rest assured that he has completed yet another task. Lily still needs some time to collect herself, so she rests while panting. The unholy sister says that this felt really good, just like her previous time, but then she realizes that she has been spacing out due to the effects of Kusaka's godly technique. She states that she will now clean up and prepare for our hero's stay as soon as she can, but he points out something very important. Lily will need to either take a bath or at least bring in a towel, but she does not understand what Kusaka means by this. That's when he points out that it would not be very advisable to stay this way, considering that she has released enough kitty water to fill a bathtub. It causes her to become really embarrassed, and she continuously says sorry to our hero, although he maintains that such things can't be helped. Later, we move to the flower capital, known as Aramana, where Lily can be seen on her knees in prayer. She states that she almost overslept and missed her morning prayer routine due to her unforgettable experience with Kusaka. The unholy sister reminds herself that she must not get carried away by her intrusive thoughts because she still has a duty to perform. She tries her best to forget about the unspeakable things that were done to her yesterday, but it is of no use because it is way too memorable for her. As a matter of fact, she gets distracted from her prayers and blushes without any control. Lily tries her best to focus on praying, and that is when she notices something odd. One of the flowers next to her starts to blossom, and this makes her a bit curious. Some more flowers start to bloom in her presence, which is definitely a first for her. This is big news, so Lily goes ahead and tells her holy sisters about this. Kusaka is also at the breakfast table, and all of them are shocked to learn about this blooming story. Our hero wonders if this is some kind of superpower, but then Talia tells him that this is the power of miracles. Kusaka loses his train of thought while eating his bread loaf because it is a bit too tasty compared to the bread from his world. Talia knows this feeling and explains that the bread has been baked by a lady in the market who is really good at it. Rose tells Talia not to change the subject, so she states that this is nothing more than the same power as the goddess. These are obviously small glimpses of power, but the point remains that it proves the sisters are not serving their goddess for nothing. When it comes to Lily, this power is getting stronger now, so Kusaka states that it is a good thing. Talia agrees that it is definitely a good thing, but the problem for him is that it certainly proves the guidance theory as well. Basically, now the Holy Sisters have proof that our hero's shady activities have the power to turn them into the goddess. Talia says that if the sisters continue to do shady things with Kusaka, then they will surely achieve the final goal of becoming the goddess's successor. This might be a bit troublesome for Kusaka because he might be overworked due to popular demand now. Since Lily is already a step ahead, Talia does not want to lose to her. But she does not know that the unholy sister has already upgraded one more level after receiving the Tongue Twister 9000. Lapina senses something odd, but then Kusaka asks if this competition will lead to a fight amongst the sisters in order to succeed the goddess. Talia says that there is nothing of the sort, so it reassures Kasaka that he will not be instrumental towards wreaking havoc. Rose adds that all of them are holy sisters, so they will sincerely face the trial, although it's hard to refer to Lily as holy now. Talia is surprised to hear this, because it means that Rose has gotten around to agreeing to doing shady things with Kasaka. Rose confirms this by stating sometimes you have got to do what you have got to do. She then gives Kasaka a taunting look and tells him that her words do not mean she has started to trust him yet. However, she does say that she looks forward to working with him. She is clearly blushing, so she thanks everyone for the meal and runs away shyly. Our hero guesses that he will now need to earn Rose's trust, and Talia tells him that he is quick on the uptake. He tells her that he is still worried about the kinds of things he will need to do to the Holy Sisters, but things could be a lot worse. He could have been given Drake's target demographic, which would make things a whole lot worse. Lily laughs at Kasaka's statement, so Talia comments that she has become a lot more open than yesterday. She also tells Lily that she had heard of her getting more guidance after the other sisters left. Lily blushes a lot, but decides to own up to the fact that she did indeed give Kasaka a sweet and salty taste. She even confesses that the Tongue Twister 9000 was a lot more intense and felt a lot better than the first session. Talia is jealous of Lily for having so much fun, but she also finds it odd that the sessions are becoming more and more intense. If this is the case, then it means that the final act could involve the meeting of Kasaka's elephant with the sisters' kitties. If that is the case, the goddess asking the girls to maintain their purity does not make sense. Talia feels it's better to ask than wonder, so she also leaves the table and heads out. She takes a look at Lapina and is surprised to see that she is feeling unwell. Lapina says that she was just thinking about something else, but does not elaborate. With that, the meal is done and we move to Kasaka's room later on. He is quite bored because men can't walk around here freely, but at the same time, the sisters are taking care of him, so he should also repay the favor. So far, only Lily has been given more than satisfactory rewards for her efforts, so Kasaka wonders if he can prepare for the guidance of the other sisters by visiting the Library of Godly Techniques for reference. However, this would not be any different from what men of culture do anyway, so it would be weird for Kasaka to do it. Suddenly, Lapina knocks on his door, so he allows her inside and asks if she needs something. Lapina says that she has a request for the sage. She says that she wants Kasaka to turn her into a mommy, and this leads to a bit of an awkward silence. Our hero asks Lapina if she wants a baby from him, because that is essentially what she is asking from him. The Holy Sister panics and says that she was only talking about the goddess when she said mommy. She's not wrong there because such a curvy figure deserves that kind of term. As Lapina talks about wanting to become like the goddess, Kasaka's ring glows again, which means it's guidance time. The voice says that the task for Lapina would be pillow feeding, which is rather shocking to Kasaka. He comments that this is not a task, but a shady desire because pillow feeding can only be possible if the pillow owner has a baby. At this very moment, something starts happening to Lapina's pillows as some moisture forms on them. Kasaka asks her what's wrong, and she says that her own pillows are hurting now. It causes her to let them out to breathe, and the sight is more than enough to stun our hero. He does not understand how guidance works over here, because Lapina is most definitely not a mommy. He then tells her to be more careful around him because he is not immune to intrusive thoughts. Kasaka walks himself through the science behind pillows hurting and letting out milk, which is something that his sister taught him, hopefully not in Alabama. Our hero tells Lapina that he wants to try a massage first to relieve her pain, but it's a bit embarrassing, so he wants her to trust him on this. She does as he asks and presents her pillows in all their milky glory. Now, it's time for Kusaka to revisit the library of godly techniques for reference, and he also remembers watching series on comic guzzlers rizzing up everyone's moms. Since our hero has such an iconic idol, his pillow massage works perfectly fine on Lapina. Her pillows are also massive, almost like lilies, which Kusaka had thought was impossible. He asks Lapina if it hurts, but she says that it feels really good to her. Our hero wonders why she is being so defenseless against him, especially because she is supposed to be a holy sister. Anyway, he continues with his massage, which is good enough to give Lapina a taste of heaven. Kusaka unleashes his finger press technique and it works wonders on Lapina, much to her delight. Our hero also loses himself to his intrusive thoughts for a bit, but then he comes back to his senses and asks Lapina if her pillows still hurt. She says that the pain is completely gone now, which means that the massage was a success. However, the ring is still glowing, which means that the guidance needs to be completed. Lapina also realizes that she must yield to the goddess, so she presents her pillows to our hero and asks him to do whatever he needs to do. Things have indeed become very serious, but Kusaka can't bail out now. Before we dive deeper into this madness, we are taken to a brief flashback where we see Lapina as a little child. She can't sleep, so she goes to the goddess for warmth, and we can see that they share a strong bond. The goddess offers her palm to Lapina, and she finds comfort in it. Lapina never had a family as such, so she found this palm to be like the warmth of a mom. It was from this moment onwards that she had decided even if she would remain small and unimpressive, she would still do her best to keep someone else warm, just like the goddess. She wants to become a big mommy, and we move back to the present on that note. Lapina says that since she has a motherly feeling, she wants Kusaka to provide his baby tongue to her pillows. Our hero can notice that the twin peaks on top of Lapina's massive pillows are much whiter with lesser pigment, probably because of all the milk coming out of them. Once again, intrusive thoughts drive him crazy, but he remembers that he must think of this as guidance and nothing else. With that, Kusaka proceeds to act like a baby in front of Lapina's pillow milkers. The taste is a bit sweet, which he attributes to his nervousness, and his acts are making Lapina's pillows feel a lot better. She realizes that this is what nursing a baby feels like, but that is not the vibe our hero wants to create. After all, the goal is to do shady things, and a mother feeding her baby is not shady. Kusaka wonders if he should try some other methods, but whatever he does only makes Lapina laugh because of the tickles. This is not good at all for Kusaka because he will not be able to complete the guidance at this pace. He pulls out his big brain energy and remembers what Lily told him about Lapina. She had mentioned that the mommy sister is knowledgeable about men, so this could help his approach. Kusaka then puts on a serious face and looks at Lapina with a sense of gloom and tells her that she might not be aware of the situation. The mommy sister is a bit confused, but then Kusaka dials up the crazy by slamming his hand on the wall behind her. He then turns into a demon face and tells Lapina that the person sucking on her massive pillows is not a baby but rather a man. The mommy nun feels scared upon seeing this threatening side of our hero, but then again, any man would turn into a demon after consuming such massive and soft pillows. Kusaka realizes that he has let his intrusive thoughts take over, so he tells himself that he will apologize to Lapina after he is done violating her twin peaks. However, Kusaka does not want Lapina to be laughing at such things because at the end of the day, these are shady activities he's doing to her. Lapina apologizes for being so casual, but she says that this feels quite different to her. After all, shady sensation is supposed to be a bit fluffier and should concern other body parts as well. Kusaka realizes that Lapina is right, because caregiving should not be mistaken for shoddiness. However, this also brings another important question to mind, so he asks Lapina why she already knows so much about shady acts and intrusive thoughts. This makes her a bit nervous, so she stammers as she says that she has done this all by herself. Kasaka is not going to let this go easily, so he tells Lapina that she will need other forms of stimulation to achieve the desired outcome. He tells her to spread her wings and then perform a solo session by herself. Lapina is a bit shy at first, but then she remembers the curvy goddess and realizes that she must do this to become a worthy successor. What follows is extremely intrusive and not at all meant to be seen with your family, unless you are from Alabama. Lapina's reactions to our hero's tongue twister 500 seem to be improving, so he continues with his efforts. She even goes on to reveal that Kasaka can bite her mountain peaks if he would like to, and he surely does not need a second invitation for that. The madness goes on for a little while longer, and then our hero stops all of a sudden. This is because he has achieved his goal, and Lapina is one step closer to becoming a mother. At this very moment, though, Sister Lily shows up and asks Lapina what's going on. Naturally, the curvy nun hides her face out of shame due to what she has just experienced. Kasaka says that he had to guide Lapina for a task, but the results seem to have scared her a bit. Lily blushes and smiles upon hearing this, and she tells Kasaka that Lapina is a bit different when compared to the other holy sisters. Whenever she feels embarrassed, she tends to shrink and hide, almost like a small and cute animal. Kasaka is actually surprised that a holy sister like Lily is now speaking so casually, but that's what happens when you experience the shady side. Lily tells our hero to be a bit patient with Lapina, because she'll be back to normal once she sorts out her feelings. Now, Lapina cutely shows her face by coming out of the pillow and tells our hero that even though this session was a bit of a failure in the middle of the process, she will do her best to become a shady mom. As a matter of fact, she will try to live up to the expectations of Ceres himself. Kasaka is glad to see the enthusiasm from Lapina, so he smiles at her to let her know all is well. Lily is happy as well, because Lapina does not seem to hate him after what he has just done to her. The holy sister then asks what a shady mom is supposed to be, but Kasaka says that only Ceres can answer that question for her. Now, we shift to the curvy goddess who has a visitor in the form of Sister Talia. The goddess asks her what she needs, so she says that she has a very important question. It is to do with what the goddess said about honoring the chastity of the nun girls. Talia realizes that honoring chastity is not necessarily the same as keeping chastity, because if it was, then the goddess would have clearly stated so. Talia knows there is another meaning to that statement, and this realization from her makes the goddess smile. She reveals that Talia has indeed guessed it correctly, and the chastity statement was not a warning, but rather a prayer for the holy sisters. The curvy goddess goes on to explain what she meant, but for plot purposes we are not shown what she says. Talia, however, now knows the secret to the chastity statement, so she declares that she might have finally understood the way things work around here. She asks the goddess if she should keep this a secret from the others, but the goddess says that either way is fine for her. After all, if the girls find the true meaning, then they probably will never be able to stop with the shoddiness. Talia walks away and comments on how it will be a delightful scene to celebrate the bond between a man and a woman. This brings a rather shady smile to her face, and then she comments on how she is excited for what will happen between her and our hero. Kasaka is busy taking a bath, and then we see a massive bell ringing in the church. Sister Rose and the other nuns are out on patrol, but the ringing of the bell means that they need to finish their session. Rose is excited to use the large bath because nobody usually goes there after it's lights out. However, she has no idea about the surprise that is waiting for her over there. Both Kasaka and Rose are a bit embarrassed by seeing each other in their respective birthday suits, and our hero is confused because he had no idea that a sister would come and use the bath. Both of them turn around, and then Kasaka asks Rose why she is here at this time. The Holy Sister realizes that she had forgotten about our hero being here, so she has been found lacking. She explains that the nuns usually have patrols at night, which causes them to get sweaty. But before she excites any of our viewers any further, she decides to cut it off. Kasaka says that he is pretty much done with his bath, so he will get out of here soon. However, Rose tells him not to do that, which confuses him a bit because they are both still in their birthday suits. Rose explains that taking a bath after a night patrol is the best feeling the Holy Sisters know of. It's almost like doing shady things, and since Rose has the permission for these baths, it should not be a problem. At this very moment, Kasaka can hear other people, so he asks Rose if she is not the only person who has come for a bath. She explains that patrols are usually done in groups of 4, which means that there are 3 more Holy Sisters coming in. This is not good for Kasaka as his identity is supposed to be kept as a secret, so he and Rose wonder what they should do. Rose has no other choice, so she grabs our hero's hand and pulls him behind her in the bath. We see the other curvy sisters making their way into the bath, and they are surprised to see Rose soaking in the bath. She says that she was feeling tired, so she decided to enjoy the bath, but we can see Kasaka hiding behind her. This may seem a bit unreasonable, but the couple really does not have much of a choice if Kasaka's identity is to be kept a secret. Rose explains that as long as our hero keeps his distance from the other nuns, he should be fine because the visibility in the bath is low due to the steam. Kasaka decides to trust Rose, but this leads to an extremely awkward session. He says sorry for making this uncomfortable, but Rose says that it was just an accident, so it can't be helped. All of that is fine, but the position these two find themselves in is a bit hilarious. Rose's soft and curvy body is too much for even the most disciplined man to resist, so our hero was never going to win this fight. Rose can feel something solid appearing all of a sudden against her bottom, so Kasaka has to explain that this is just a natural reaction. Kasaka's elephant pokes at Rose now, but she knows that it can't be helped because even though she is a holy sister, her body has been made for sin. She maintains that she still does not trust Kasaka, and she will get very angry if he tries to do something shady. Our hero promises that he will do no such thing, but then one of the other nuns asks to join Rose in the bath. This is not good news, but there isn't any other place for Kasaka to hide, so he has to go with the flow. Rose panics and decides to push Kasaka into the water because he will need to hide as much of his body as possible. Rose assumes an odd position now, so the curvy nun asks her why she has her back pointed to her. Rose says that it's because the wind is feeling nice. The curvy nun buys the story, but then she notices Rose moving a bit weirdly. She asks what's up, but Rose says it's all good. Upon closer inspection, we realize that all is not good as our hero's face is right where most of the viewers would want their faces to be. Kasaka can feel something soft and wet on his nose and mouth, so it is rather impressive for him not to break into buffet mode. Rose is also using all her energy to prevent any intrusive thoughts from coming to her. After what Kasaka had done to Lily, he is even more aware of what is happening, but he needs to summon all his powers to resist heavenly temptation. Now, the curvy nun is told not to warm up too much in the bath, otherwise she will not be able to get any sleep. Luckily, she agrees to this and leaves with the other holy sisters, thus keeping Kasaka's identity hidden. Rose happily waves them goodbye, and then she lets our hero break free from the temptation of Kitty. Since Kasaka is a man of culture, he stares at the kitty for a bit and then apologizes for making Rose do such a thing even though it was an emergency. This makes Rose wonder if he is actually a good guy, but then Kasaka's ring lights up, which means it's time for a task. Our hero can't believe that a trial has arrived here of all places, and then Rose is told that she is the one who has to perform it. The task happens to be a body wash play activity, but this is not good news for Kasaka as it is an extremely shady activity. Rose does not understand what body wash play encompasses. So Kusaka has to explain to her that it is a service offered at shady shops back in his world. It involves washing the body with soap and foam, but also while rubbing bodies together. Rose is not surprised to hear this, especially after seeing what happened to Lapina and Lily, but she also asks our hero if his country is only filled with shady men. Her statement may actually apply to the whole world, especially the regular viewers of Comic Guzzlers, but Kusaka needs to focus on the task at hand. He tells Rose that everyone has a shady side, so it's not right to shame them for it. She responds by saying she does not have a shady side, but we all know that's a lie. Anyway, there is no time to argue about such things, so she says that they should just get it over with. Kusaka does not find this attitude healthy, so he tells Rose that if she is pushing herself too hard to receive guidance, then he'll stop. Rose appreciates the concern, but she tells Kusaka that she has already stated that she will do whatever is required for her to receive guidance. Things are really heating up now that even Kusaka has found himself on the receiving end. How is our hero going to handle this body wash play? Will he finally be able to get Rose to open up to him? And how are these guidance tasks even decided in the first place? Like, share, and subscribe if you also want to teach unholy things to holy nuns. The next part will only get covered if this video gets enough views. Okay then, I'll see you in the next one.